Picture this. You see the future. You sketch it in meticulous detail, every gear, every wire, every brilliant connection. You build it with your own hands, your own sweat. It works. You know it does. But when you show the world, they laugh. They shrug. They turn away. Your invention, your future, gets tucked into some dusty drawer, labeled impossible. Years slip by. Then decades. Until one day, someone else stumbles upon your old blueprints, your forgotten prototype, and suddenly, the world gasps. Genius. But it wasn't genius then. Not when you built it. Today, we uncover the stories the history books missed. The ones who saw over the horizon, way over. Like the woman who built an electric car in 1890, silent, clean, revolutionary, only to watch gasoline steal the spotlight. Like the eccentric inventor who dreamed of a worldwide web of knowledge in the 1920s, before computers even existed. Like the doctor who cured diseases with methods so advanced his peers called them madness, until decades later, when science finally caught up. They were mocked, ignored, erased. But here's the thing about truth, about real innovation. It doesn't disappear. It just waits. Because the future belongs to those who see it first, even if the world isn't ready to look. This is episode 8, Forgotten Geniuses, Inventions Ahead of Their Time. And their time? It's finally now. We shall begin with the story of Nikola Tesla, the future no one was ready for. New York City, 1898. The crowd gathered at Madison Square Garden had seen everything, or so they thought. Then came a strange man with an even stranger promise. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now control a boat with nothing but the air. They laughed. Some whispered, black magic. Even the US military sent officers to investigate, thinking he was using trained monkeys inside the machine. But inside that tiny wooden boat, there was nothing. No monkey, no pilot, just a radio signal from Nikola Tesla's handheld transmitter. He had invented remote control, and he was just getting started. Tesla dreamed of a wireless world, free energy transmitted through the air. He built towers to send electricity without wires. He imagined smartphones, satellites, even the internet, decades before any of them existed. But the world wasn't ready. His investors pulled out. The towers were torn down. And Tesla died alone, in a small New York hotel room, nearly forgotten. Yet today, remote control is in every drone. Wireless power in every charging dock. And Tesla's name, finally, powers cars, rockets, and the imagination of a new generation. Because some ideas don't vanish. They wait. Let's proceed with the story surrounding Mary Anderson, the woman who cleared the way. Birmingham, Alabama, 1902. A winter so bitter it clung to the world like frost on glass. Mary Anderson sat shivering in a New York streetcar, watching as the driver wrestled with the storm. Again and again he leaned out into the sleet, wiping the windshield with his sleeve. Again and again, the icy wind rushed in, the streetcar lurched to a crawl, and progress stalled. Mary didn't just see the problem, she felt it. In her bones. In her restless, inventive mind. By the time she reached home, her fingers were already sketching the solution. A swinging arm operated from inside the cab. A handle. A spring. A rubber blade that could clear the glass without ever opening the window. She filed the patent, built the prototype, offered it to the car companies with the quiet confidence of someone who knew this would change everything. But the world wasn't ready. It would distract drivers, they said. No practical value, they insisted. So the patent expired. Mary moved on. Never paid. Never credited. And then, the road stretched longer. The cars raced faster. The storms grew heavier. By the 1920s, every vehicle on the road needed windshield wipers. The exact kind Mary had imagined. But by then, the conversation had left her behind. History is full of such stories. Visionaries who see the future before it arrives, only to watch others claim the glory. Mary Anderson was one of them. She looked through a storm-streaked windshield and saw not just the road ahead, but the way to clear it. And though her name faded, her invention didn't. Every time a wiper blade sweeps away the rain. Every time a driver sees clearly through the storm. That's her legacy. Uncelebrated, perhaps, but undeniable. Because the future belongs to those who clear the path, even if others take the journey. Next in our discovery, we proceed to the story of Charles Babbage, the father of the computer that never was. It's the early 1800s. England is buzzing with the Industrial Revolution. But Charles Babbage? He's obsessed with something different. Numbers. Calculations. Machines that think. Babbage designed the difference engine to automate complex math tables. But that was just the start. He dreamed bigger. A mechanical, analytical engine. A machine with memory, a processor, even a form of programming. Think of it, a 19th century computer. No electricity. Just gears, levers, and punch cards. He presented his designs to Parliament, asking for funding. But the project was expensive, complex, and too ahead of its time. Critics called it foolish. Support dried up. The machine was never fully built. For decades, Babbage's vision was forgotten. But Ada Lovelace, his collaborator and the world's first computer programmer, kept the dream alive. Today, every smartphone, laptop, and server is a descendant of Babbage's engine. A mechanical marvel that paved the way, even if it never spun a single calculation in its inventor's lifetime. Because sometimes, being too early means waiting for history to catch up. We continue in the line of telecommunication by looking at the story of Elisha Gray, the telephone that almost was. It's 1876, a race against time. Two inventors, two workshops, two visions. Elisha Gray files a patent for his telephone prototype, a device that could transmit voice over wires. But on the very same day, Alexander Graham Bell submits his patent too. A lightning-fast legal battle begins. Bell's patent is approved first. Gray's invention is dismissed as a copy. The world remembers Bell, the father of the telephone. But Gray? His design was just as good. Sometimes better. He even demonstrated a way to send multiple messages on a single wire, a precursor to the multiplex systems powering today's networks. Gray's invention was overshadowed, buried under patent wars and courtroom drama. Yet, the technology he pioneered quietly shaped the future of telecommunications. Today, every phone call, every video chat owes a debt to Gray's nearly forgotten genius. Because sometimes, history's loudest voice isn't the only one worth hearing. In the next chapter of Curiosity, we shall consider the story of Richard Trevithick, the steam carriage that paved the way. Cornwall, England. Early 1800s. The mines groaned under the weight of or hauled inch by straining horses. Richard Trevithick watched, his mind restless. There had to be a better way. Steam engines already existed, hulking, stationary beasts powering pumps and mills. But Trevithick dreamed smaller, stronger, a machine that could move. In 1801, his vision roared to life. The first steam-powered road vehicle, a carriage without horses, a furnace on wheels. It clattered through the village, iron wheels biting into dirt, smoke puffing like a dragon's breath. People gasped. Children chased it. Skeptics scoffed. It was magnificent. And it was doomed. The roads, muddy, uneven, built for hooves, buckled under its weight. Landowners feared ruined lanes. Investors saw only risk. The public, wary of this fire-breathing monster, turned away. The government? Silent. Too radical. Too soon. Trevithick's steam carriage was scrapped, left to rust in obscurity. But ideas don't disappear. They smolder. His failure became the blueprint for locomotives that would soon crisscross continents, for automobiles that would redefine travel. The Industrial Revolution's great transport leap began with his stumble. Because progress isn't about perfect first steps. It's about taking them, even when the world isn't ready to follow. Trevithick's carriage may have stalled. But his vision? It changed the journey of history itself. And just when we thought it couldn't get more unusual, we discovered the story of Heron of Alexandria, the ancient spark of steam. Alexandria, 1st century AD. The air hums with the scent of papyrus and olive oil, the clink of tools against bronze. In the shadow of the great library, where scholars measure the stars and philosophers debate the nature of fire, an inventor named Heron bends over his workbench. His hands move with precision, assembling copper and steam, not for utility, but for wonder. What emerges is the Eolipile, a sphere perched on a stand, its hollow arms curved like a dancer's. Water boils within. Steam hisses out. And then, spins. A whirling, hissing marvel. No oxen turning wheels. No slaves straining at ropes. Just heat and water, transformed into motion. The scholars of Alexandria gasp. The engineers marvel. And then, they shrug. The toy, they call it. A clever trick for temple rituals. No one thinks to harness it for ships, for mills, for work. The world still runs on muscle and sweat. The Eolipile is shelved among curiosities, a footnote in scrolls. Centuries pass. Empires rise and fall. The secret of steam sleeps. To the 18th century. Factories hungry for power. Minds begging for strength beyond horses and men. And there, in the notebooks of engineers, the old idea stirs. What if heat could turn the world? Heron's spinning sphere was the first whisper of that revelation. Proof that steam could move, could work. If only someone dared to use it. The Industrial Revolution didn't start with James Watt. It started here, in an inventor's workshop, 2,000 years too soon. Because genius isn't always about changing the world now. Sometimes it's about leaving a spark, for the future to light the fire. Reflecting on the episode, what do a forgotten woman, a mechanical computer, a lost telephone, a steam carriage, and an ancient steam engine have in common? They remind us that true innovation doesn't always come wrapped in immediate success. Sometimes the world isn't ready. Sometimes the loudest voices overshadow quiet brilliance. Sometimes genius waits patiently for its moment. These forgotten inventors planted seeds that blossomed into the technology we rely on today. Their stories teach us to look deeper, to honor the ideas that didn't quite fit the time. Because innovation isn't just about what's new, it's about what lasts. Next time on Everyday Inventions, we dive into a world where curiosity meets imagination. The inventions inspired by play and childhood wonder. From simple toys to mind-blowing tools, discover how fun and games have sparked some of the greatest breakthroughs. Because sometimes, the greatest ideas come when we're just playing around. Stay curious. Stay inspired. See you in the next episode.